Did you know that getting lost can be good for your mental health? When in danger, our brain cannot afford to be stuck in rumination about past hurts and pain. Its quick acting system of keeping us safe reflexively shifts our focus to the present. Losing our way forces the brain to shift from autopilot, procedural memory, to present, high level navigation and situational processing. Being lost impels our brain to prioritize new information over old information, resulting in the earlier trauma memory getting overwritten. Navigating through unfamiliar terrain engages multiple areas of the brain involving high level cognitive skills. The amygdala, our threat center, shifts its focus to present danger, while the hippocampus, the seat of our memory, and surrounding brain structures like the entorhinal cortex, that is the navigation hub, and prefrontal cortex, our thinking decision making center, work in tandem to modify old maps and construct a new cognitive map of the uncharted territory. It seems the hippocampus uses memories of places and spaces as a kind of scaffolding or map on which to organize other memories. This means that changing our physical surroundings or spatial environment can disrupt past memories. The brain's spatial system helps integrate autobiographical memories. Like when you think of an event, the location where it occurred automatically comes to mind. The underlying reason for nearly all childhood trauma is fear. Fear of violence, fear of rejection, fear of being abandoned, fear of not belonging. This fear becomes interwoven into our psyche. It fills us with a sense of helplessness and existential dread. The brain structures that keep our trauma memories active are the same regions needed for spatial navigation. When we encounter threatening or traumatic situations, this tetrad of brain structures, the amygdala, hippocampus, entorhinal cortex, and prefrontal cortex, robustly engage with each other so that the memory is encoded and not forgotten. This replaying of traumatic events is our brain's primitive protective mechanism. However, unbridled rumination keeps us stuck in the past. Woefully, we can't stop intrusive thoughts by thinking differently. However, the fear of being lost forces our brain to shift focus to surviving the current danger. Present peril reflexively shifts the brain's attention, overriding intrusive thought patterns. One day, serendipitously, out of boredom, I decided to explore the mini forest near my residence. Initially, I was kind of afraid of getting lost and encountering snakes, but something egged me on. Finding my way through untrodden paths challenged my fear-frozen, numbed-out brain. It was nerve-wracking at first. However, when I managed to find my way out, the relief and elation were indescribable. On returning to the safety of my home, I felt a perceptual shift in my emotional state. I attributed it to being in nature and hearing bird sounds, which felt calming. And so I decided to make it a daily habit. Every foray into the unknown boosted my confidence, but I could also feel something changing on a deeper level, like leaving my old self behind and something new coming into being. I mentioned in my earlier video on scoliosis and breathing how doing this changed my breathing pattern. My nervous system shifted from threat response to being in a challenged state. My mindset shifted from hunted to hunter, from helpless despair to hopeful thrill. Finding our way out through challenging situations rewires our thinking and feeling state. From fear and confusion, we gain clarity and confidence. It transforms our self-concept. We are no longer hopeless or helpless. We are capable. Getting lost and discovering a path out is akin to real-time exposure therapy. It's somewhat similar to the psychological principle of habituation and extinction. Habituation, that is, getting used to it. The first time I got lost, my anxiety was high. But as I learned to navigate unfamiliar terrain and find my way, my brain learned to not to panic. As I got more confident, my emotional responses lessened over time. We break procedural memory, that is, the habitual thinking and responding patterns. Procedural memory allows us to navigate familiar routes without conscious thought. We are in autopilot mode. Trauma is often stored in implicit, procedural, or somatic memories, how the body reacts, its habits, and physical sensations. Disrupting procedural memory, the unconscious bodily responses are a requisite for deep trauma healing. Getting lost disrupts this, forcing the brain out of its habitual unconscious routine. Major component of exposure therapy is prediction error, the difference between what a person fears will happen and what actually happens. Our brain is a prediction making machine. The fear of being lost is often associated with the mental image of danger. When you get lost and nothing bad happens, the brain updates its internal threat models. Small wins, tolerable discomfort, and repeated exposure gradually build within us the capacity and ability to tolerate stress. Repeated exposure to danger gradually dissipates our implicit fear response. We move from learned helplessness to feeling confident. We also build our self efficacy. Successfully finding our way back builds confidence in our ability to manage unpredictable, stressful situations. It changes how we see ourselves and how we deal with life's challenges. Over time, our improved self efficacy makes us anti fragile. Also, improving our navigation skills drive our neuroplasticity. Active engagement in navigation, such as map reading, landmark recognition, and wayfinding, is a powerful driver of neuroplasticity, stimulating structural and functional changes in the brain that improve memory, cognitive flexibility, and overall brain health. Studies have shown that the first sign of Alzheimer's disease are impaired navigation skills. You may have read about the study on the London cab drivers and their increased hippocampus volume. Exercising your navigation skills does have many benefits. Wayfinding helps us find our lost self. Most of us childhood trauma survivors suffer from a loss of self. We don't seem to know who we are and our place in the world. Trauma fractures our psyche and disrupts coherent memory consolidation. However, something magical happens as we find our way through our lostness. Our inner fragmented parts of our psyche come into alignment. Imperceptibly, the internal chaos evaporates into an infinite knowingness, a confidence in who I am. I know I'm a different person from the one I was before I began my forest forays. I'm no longer that frightened, helpless trauma personality. Getting lost has helped me find myself. Always remember, you are not lost. Rather, you are in a place you have never been before. Keep moving. You will find a way out.